welcome to the good life. Hey, Betty.
Hi, good morning, Sue. How are you?
I'm good. I get to see you and play and be on the radio. It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah, advances in technology these days and, figuring out which amazing camera I have to look at because, I love the camera and the camera loves me.
Yes, we all love you, Betty. I like it. We've got more hair too, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing there either. That's probably why I've been on camera.
We have more hair here than you do over here.
Thanks for noticing. Yes, very much so. If I can grow it somewhere, that's what's going to be down here. Yeah,
you just look handsome. That's all. It's all good.
I appreciate it. Actually, I will say this, though. It is in preparation for maybe an October thing. We'll see.
Oh, you are so good with that.
Well, I kind of have a past. I had a 7-year back-to-back run of winning the competition. So, we're not going to get into that. But we'll see.
You're not competitive at all.
It's one day a year, and I really like it a lot, I guess. Say that.
If you guys are trying to figure out what we're talking about Benny, and the holiday would be Halloween, and the costume contest. And Benny has hit it out of the ballpark for costumes, and it's been very fun.
Yeah, I'm a little creative rather than like fixing myself up because it's limited on my.
I wouldn't say little, sweetheart. I would say massively creative.
Well, thank you.
And then you build things to make it all. Yeah,
I try to think ahead so I'm not caught behind, the week. Oh, I got to come up with a costume during the week, so.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, welcome, you guys. Sue here. Clarity with Sue. Mm-hmm. You knew us for years as the Gratitude Cafe. Remind all of you, if you want to get a copy of the show, please just go to claritywithsue.com, sign up for the newsletter. The little love bumps will be headed to your inbox once a week. I pull cards, set the intention for the week. I give you a little information about what's going on with the guests. Sometimes we have special links. If you want to watch us live, we are streaming live, obviously, right here on terrestrial radio, KKNW. We're also YouTubing. I feel like there should be a song for that. YouTube. Oh, Benny, getting jiggy with it. It's the day. Yeah. Oh, mm-hmm. Why are you shaking your head?
Did you not see what Will Smith did to fellow comedian Chris Rock not too long ago?
Oh,
sorry.
Well, I still like getting jiggy with it.
I'll do it for you.
Okay.
But I personally am not going to. That's just my opinion. That's just my direction of choice.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love this because we're talking about opinions and narratives and conversations today. And there's been there's a lot of going on in the world today. I know I have good English. I swear I do. But really quick, there is a lot going on in the world today. But I also want to remind all of you, we are streaming internationally, which is on YouTube, Twitter feed, and also the Facebook feed. All you got to do is just go to any of those KKNW platforms and watch us live. Again, it's YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, KKNW, right?
Yeah, it's all KKNW's platform. So just type us all in, you'll find an event. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it's fun because it's YouTube. When we first started this, when I first launched into radio 12 something years ago,
what about that?
It was just, it's crazy. It was just radio, right? And just the terrestrial radio. There wasn't a YouTube. I mean, the platforms were there, but we hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah. And we weren't too far off from actually streaming online as well, but into the traditional sense. Yes, you are correct.
Yes. Obviously you would know, the language and know better.
It's about that. Yeah.
Okay. So, it's been a while since I've been on to chat and educate and just love on you guys. And I'm really excited. I really enjoy this part. I bring this platform and this radio show to all of you and of course myself, because there's so much going on in the world, not only in our inner world, but externally what's going on. And then how do we self-regulate? How do we keep our shiitake together when shiitake hits the fan? And for those of you in terrestrial radio, I've got to watch my language because FCC rules, all that good stuff. So just bear with me in my little Sueisms. So there's a lot going on in the world. And I have had clients, I have had friends, I've had entrepreneurs, CEOs. We're having these deep conversations about how do I show up? How do I show up in the world when there's so much chaos, so much mayhem? And you know what? You got to have a practice in place. And I'm going to use the car analogy, and don't go so practical on me, but when you get into a car, you've got to practice. I mean, you've had, and Benny, bear with me here. There's some that don't practice, and that's a great metaphor for life too. You know, you can go off left, right, flip, all this stuff. And if you have a practice in place and you want to have a life and lifestyle, win at that and have it be in grace and ease, you're going to want to have a practice in place. So we're going to have a conversation about what's happening. I'm not into politics. I don't watch the news. I don't do any of that, but I do know about humanity. I do know about people's emotions and self-regulating that and what that looks like. And we're talking from conversations to men and women not wanting to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, you know, whether there's game day or there's a concert, I mean, people are really upset at the choices that our beautiful country has, you know, put itself into. You know, and I take it as, and I say this with a big, huge, loving, deep breath, and I intend for you to hear this with loving ears. And you know, if it sparks something inside of you, good, because that's important as well. And just take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath and look at the contrast that all of this is teaching us, right? The contrast in, yeah, I don't much care for that, or yes, I do care for that, and really balancing that out, not addressing it from a resentful, angry place, because I've had men and women, and there's been posts on Instagram or something, and I have responded in an essence of, I'm going to show up in love. I don't want to put more resentment, more anger. I don't want to feed the dragon anymore. Does that make sense, Benny?
I believe
Totally,
so.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Feed the beast.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to feed the dragon. And also reminding folks, you know, the last year, it feels as though there's been this big, huge, fat permission slip. And I'm reminding my guests come on, and we're all in agreement that you don't have to do or be that way anymore. You have a narrative that's going on in your head. And you've got, and I say the narrative, and I'm going to go a little bit nerdy here, but there's what's called the iceberg effect. And the iceberg effect is you've got a conscious and unconscious system in your brain. And the iceberg effect, basically, it's like 99.6% of unconscious stuff that you really don't even realize you're responding to, or maybe it's a coach said something to you, or a parent said something to you, you know, 10 years ago, and you're still having a response to that. That's still your dialogue. And that's an unconscious response. I want to be purposeful. I want to have clarity. I want to live on purpose and make those choices in grace and ease. So that's why I sought out for the last 20 years, self-regulating tools, mindset hacks, positive psychology, law of attraction, all of which stuff that I teach and educate from. And I love it. It's all mind, body, spirit, health. Law of attraction is a big part of that. How you're showing up, positive psychology, it's mind over matter, it's meditation, all that good, juicy stuff. So we need to have a practice in place. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And after the break, I'm going to give you a bunch of to-dos, because that's what I'm about. I am about, at least for myself, I want real-time, real-life self-regulating tools in the moment, and also stuff that I can be practicing, like I said earlier, about having that practice in place before the stuff hits the fan. You can self-regulate, you can, and you do have permission to do all that. Permission, wake-up call, whatever you want to call it. Wake-up call sounds like I feel like I'm stabbing, like it's a wake-up call.
Right?
You know, I'm like, no, we don't have to take that route again, because I'm talking about managing your nervous system and keeping yourself in homeostasis. Now, if you find yourself getting triggered and fired up, use that for a good cause. You hear that so much. Use that fire, use that passion in good. Get clear on your message of what you want and articulate that with passion and discernment and education versus lashing out. There's a huge contrast with that. And I know how I want to show up, and I want to show up in loving, compassion, nurturing manners the most that I can. And if I don't, then I know something's going on in me, and it's a learning experience. So that contrast, I want you to hear this. When I was doing my research for a couple different educational platforms, and some things, were just coming up to me, and it is that contrast. So hear this: the contrast brings opportunity. Now just really lean into that, because that contrast brings opportunity. It's the black and white, right? It is the contrast between conversation. It's the contrast between your alignment with whether it's politics or raising a family or work, whatever that is. It's a contrast. So it helps you to get into clarity, whether you want it or you don't want it. And you don't have to have it meaning that contrast could be, from what's going on in the world with women's rights, or the state of the affairs of the US and all of that and what's going on there. There's a contrast. So you can learn from that contrast and say, I don't much care for that. And then with that, you can then choose to show up in a manner that is your code of conduct. I call it the personal code of conduct. And that's important because you have already put in a practice, like myself, to come in calm, compassionate, and curious. I use CCs a lot. You guys have heard that before. It's a compassionate curiosity. So get really curious about the conversation, get really compassionate about yourself and the other person that you're talking to, and engage in a curiosity manner, and really ask curious questions instead of shutting the conversation down. And by that, I mean, if you're going to come in with resentment and anger and taking things so personally, which we've all been there. I know I have. I mean, I've raised 3 girls. I know that in itself is a petri dish of learning. Where I'm going with all this, that contrast brings so much opportunity, and that clarity within that opportunity is absolutely the fuel to all of your desires. So gain that clarity, go out and seek the education, give yourself that big fat permission slip. You have every right to question, to dive in, to lean in or lean out, to ask those questions specifically to yourself, because if you want things to change, you have to change. You have to change the narrative, the conversation, the people around you, what you eat. I mean, there's all kinds of things that go into play when you are changing your life up. You're reclaiming your life. The language that I use is reclaiming, redesigning. And I love that. And if you find yourself, when I was doing live workshops, which I will start doing again, I've had hundreds of people I've lost everything. I have completely lost everything in my life. I'm like, okay, right on. We have a clean slate. We have a completely clean platform to go from. And Benny, I just realized we had an open mic conversation, didn't we? I wanted to make sure that I reiterated that.
Oh, yeah. It's in addition to today's show. If you'd like to join us, it's 888-298-5569, 888-298-5569, or 425-373-5527. That's a local number, 425-373-5527. Either one works.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys want to call in and have a conversation, you can ask. Benny will take your questions if you want to do that. I know I've got a couple questions that I'm floating around and just kind of generally asking. I'm not going to put in any names out there. I've had people asking questions, but the biggest one is what I talked about at the top of the hour, is what's happening. How do I respond? How do I respond? How do I react? How do I behave when this is so painful for me? Things that are going on in my life. We could use women's rights, we could use, in-laws. I mean, we could go either sides, right? Regardless of what's happening in the US or not. It's a self-regulation, and it's you getting clear on how you're going to show up. So what does that mean? It's I call the 3 phases of transformations. There's some language I used. I just shoulda, coulda, woulda all over myself. There are the CCs in life. The biggest thing for me, and I have been doing this for years, it's gratitude and appreciation, and keeping my body in homeostasis as best that I can. And I'm a walking petri dish. I'm a walking example. I mean, this isn't me showing up perfect. I don't believe in that. I just show up the best that I can in the moment. And if I'm triggered, and I learn from it. And that's okay. Absolutely okay. Again, go back to compassionate curiosity, and get really compassionate and get really, really curious about the conversation. There's also the 3 phases of transformation. And just bear with me as I kind of educate and walk you through this, because knowledge is power. And if you have clear on what's happening and what you're going through, it's the phases, the stages of what you're going through. And those 3 phases are awareness. You have the awareness. You have the awareness that maybe you were in denial, or you have the awareness you heard something in the media that you didn't care for, or you have the awareness that your inner dialogue is not so healthy. You had the awareness that your mindset is not that healthy. How do you want to change that? Maybe it's your eating habits. It's the awareness practice instead of denial, instead of, denial, putting your head in the sand, workaholism, all of that stuff, to kind of detach yourself from your body and what your true beliefs are, and that authentic and genuineness of it all. So there's those 3 phases. It's the awareness. And then after you've had the awareness, things are going to start shifting. The educator, the teacher, the song, the conversation, the YouTube video, the book is going to start coming in. That clarity, that education is going to start coming in to your awareness practice. So pay attention to that. If it's coming to you, there's a reason. So lean into it, educate, see if it feels right. And if it aligns, it aligns. If it doesn't, move it off to the side and revisit it if it feels right. It's okay. And then there's the 3rd phase, which is the transformation. You have integrated everything that you have just learned, right? You've had the awareness, you've had the education, you've got the book. And this is not an overnight process. It's not an overnight. Yeah, it's just not an overnight process. It's a journey. It's gonna be you integrating and figuring out the language for you as you have your transformation, as you are learning from your books, as you're learning from conversations. Again, have curiosity and compassion for yourself in this, and self-love for yourself. Have patience. Don't get down on yourself. Again, it's that conversation within, between the ears, that's really important, and having that self-love for yourself, and providing that safe space. Don't be the bad roommate in the head. Don't be the drunk monkey in the head. And if you notice that that's popping in, take a minute, take some deep breaths. I love being out in nature. I do walks. I hike. I get in the river. I'm outside as much as I possibly can with either myself or my dog, Levi. You guys know about him. And it's really important to do that, to get grounded. And something that I have done for years with my clients, to get yourself grounded, to get yourself back to homeostasis. And this could be entrepreneurs, this could be parents, this could be children, parents. You guys are leaders in yourself. You could be inside a work environment. Go outside, take off your shoes, take a deep breath, and walk backwards. So you are fully in your body, and you're meticulous. You're really conscious about taking those steps backwards, because we don't want to step in poo. We don't want to step in anything that's going to hurt us. And again, it's a great metaphor for life, right? So really take a nice deep breath, get yourself grounded, feel Mother Earth, and get yourself and your body into homeostasis. And then go back to making choices, go back to having the conversation. You have every permission, every right to take a time out. Do it. If you're not showing up in the conversation, this could be entrepreneurs, this could be leadership. Leadership is parenting. Leadership is CEOs. Leadership is your own company, and just, we're all leaders, right? So if you find that you're not able to articulate kindly, with boundaries, right? It's kind of, I really hesitate to use the word tough love, because it's just got kind of a weird connotation anymore. However, where I'm going with this, it is, I have boundaries. I'm going to speak with boundaries. I'm also going to speak with love. And that could be whether you're in a business platform or in a family platform. I use the word love loosely, especially if you're a CEO. I would say self-love. So you are also being the example to the other person, which is a huge, huge deal. Even if you are choosing to show up and they are being reactive, you keep showing up. You still have had that practice. You are still showing up, compassion, learning, understanding, and you're from a homeostasis. So you, even if they leave in a tantrum, you have still set the standard and you have shown up. Oh, this was a really good question for me. I want to share this for you. It's another superpower tip. What truly brings, and I say heart pride, what is it that truly brings you? What makes you genuinely proud of yourself by making choices? What is that? What makes you proud? And I say heart proud because it's not from an ego. And I guess we've got a caller. Thank you, Benny. We have a caller from Mill Creek, Washington. Hello.
Yes,
this
Jennifer.
Is
yeah.
Jennifer, hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. So I have a question. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning.
I have a question. So you talked about being in your body. And I just got back from Marie Manicheri's retreat in Greece. And that was something that came up for me, is stay in your body. So since you're talking about that, I thought it would be interesting to understand why that's so important. So important that we stay in our bodies. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one with that question.
Oh my gosh, no, everybody does. And what does that mean to even be in your body, right?
Staying
because there's the contrast. There's so many people that are in, and I'm speaking from my own experience as well. It's the denial, it's the workaholism. And we can talk about that from, a standpoint of work all the way to your intimacy and being able to please yourself because you're not in your body. I've had these intimacy conversations as well. If you don't know your body, if you're not in your body, the pleasure points, the intimacy as well. There's the vital energy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And being in your body and knowing what your body is telling you, whether it's food, whether it's energy, or if I have leaning into your body, knowing that this doesn't feel safe to me is really important. So you're not putting yourself in a situation that's potentially could cause you harm. Now, I'd say that with the disclaimer of, again, what I was talking about at the top of the hour, leaning into the contrast, getting really clear on what that looks like, if it's a yes or a no. And I think, Jennifer, you've heard me talk about taking that word try out of your vocabulary. Just don't use it. Don't use any of that, right?
Try or should, right?
Yeah, don't use any of it. So it puts you into that space where it is a yes or a no answer to you. And being in your body, it's the same way. You've got to have hydration, grounding, and this is, I ask myself questions. If it's important to me to feel good in my body, to have epic intimacy, and to feel intimacy on a whole new level, that's energetic, emotional, and sexual. It's all of it. I have to be in my body and feel confident in that space and leaning into that. So if it's important to you to show up healthy, confident, strong in your life, you got to be in your body. You got to get clear on what that looks like and what that feels like, so you can discern in those moments of contrast. Did I answer your question, Jennifer?
Yeah, no, that was really good. I mean, because yeah, I just want to hear your perspective of it. What your thoughts were around it, and I think your perspective is it's really really good. So yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Any other insights that you wanted to noodle about being in the body or not?
Yeah. So my father passed away actually last week, and I've had lots of opportunities to be triggered with family and being in that family soup, right? The dynamics of all that. And so I have learned so much about, you talk about the world and what's going on in the world, right? The way we choose to see things or the way we, see the contrast. And I realized that this is my journey and this is the way I choose to see things. And I can't expect everybody else to have the same views. And that was a huge opportunity for me to learn the world, the family, the whole thing. It was amazing.
Wow, you just totally hit the nail on the head for so many listeners right now. That's so important because we don't have to show up that way. We do not have to have the same opinions. And then being able to stand in our body, in our personal code of conduct, you've heard that language before, in our own selves, authentically and genuinely, and say, yeah, it's all right. You can have your opinion. We can agree to disagree. You be you and I'll be me, right? Just don't make me feel wrong or resentful or have me diminish myself because we have a difference, right? Let's come together. Let's find a unity and how we can, finding a unity and love and a balance in the relationship, if it truly is something that you feel it is important to you, right? I mean, if there's people in your life that you're like, not so much, you can let them go and say, see ya, love ya, we're done.
Yeah.
Right.
I found myself apologizing and owning it a lot, right? I found myself owning me trying to push my views on them to a point where my sister said, I don't even know how to feel. You're telling me I shouldn't feel this way. I'm like, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to realize, and I'm sorry, right? Like I own my stuff, right? And I found myself apologizing a lot and not in a way of making myself smaller, but in a way of realizing that this is my journey and my growth, like we talked about just a minute ago.
And look at you sharing love for yourself. It wasn't, putting yourself down in that moment. It was just simply looking at the contrast and going, oh, there's my opportunity. Thank you, sweetheart. Yep. And that right there is beautiful. That's emotional intelligence. 1, 2, you are also sustaining and fostering a higher vibration. Now, do we get a little bit of slippery slope and sometimes we can get down on ourselves after all the mayhem is, we're sitting quietly? Yeah, we do. But the important part is that refractory period. We stay above the line. We stay in that self-love and appreciation and looking at the contrast as an opportunity, not a judgment, not I've done something wrong, not a shame. Yep. I love that, Jennifer. Way to go.
Yeah. Thank you. So I wanted to share all that, and thank you for the opportunity and the perfect alignment of timing to share that, because I also think it'll help other people too, right? I think I'm not the only one that is processing these types of things.
Well, yeah, and I was discerning, download. I'm like, all right, source, what am I talking about today? What am I going to bring to the table? And guess what came? It's all of this. It's amazing. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Right. You both have a lovely day.
Thank you, love. All right, you guys, we're going to go for a quick commercial. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about, I'm going to recap, and then I'm going to give you some real life, real time self-regulating tools on how you can self-regulate and put this process in place before the shiitake hits the fan. We are still live on YouTube. So all you got to do is go to YouTube and type in 1150 AM. If you guys want to call in, ask a question, please do. We'd love to hear from you. Reclaim, rediscover, redesign. Sue here with Clarity with Sue. We'll be Hey there, everyone. Sue here with Clarity with Sue. You also know me as the host and creator of the Gratitude Cafe. Please sign up for the newsletter so we can stay in touch. All you got to do is go to claritywithsue.com, sign up for the newsletter, and I am creating vitality, abundance, and resilience. I want you to win in life and to reclaim, rediscover, redesign the authentic and genuine you. If that sounds juicy and yummy, come over, let's have a conversation, sign up for the newsletter and or the coaching program and the C2C live online program. Again, that's claritywithsue.com.
Alternative Talk 1150. We're on your radio at 1150 a.m. We're on your HD radio at 98.9 Channel 3.
So many ways to listen.
We're on the web at 1150kknw.com, streaming live audio and video as well as MP3 archives of many of our shows.
So many ways to listen.
And now, we're on your smartphone or tablet. Download our free app in the Apple App Store or Google Play and take Alternative Talk 1150 anywhere you go.
So many ways to listen.
A few years ago, Steve Faircow's lungs were failing.
I don't think I had more than a couple weeks to live.
That's when Steve received a lung transplant made possible by an organ donor. Now Steve can do things he never imagined, like climbing 94 floors to the top of a skyscraper.
I never knew that breathing could feel this good. It's an incredible gift.
What could you make possible as an organ, eye, and tissue donor? Leave behind the gift of life. Go to organdonor.gov, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Alternative Talk 1150. It's good for what ails you. This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA.
I can see Benny's face now. You guys, Benny and I have a history here, 12 plus years of a history. And that song I love, and it's just gets, okay, so that's another thing. It gets me jiggy. It gets me silly. And Benny's like, oh my God.
I mean, the title says it all, right?
Right? And that's what I want everybody to hear, right? What brings you pure joy. And that's one of those songs that do, and disco and the BG. I mean, there's all kinds. So the top of the hour, we talked about what I'm hearing and the conversations and the questions and concerns of my clients, CEOs, parents, ownership, restaurant owners, all of these incredible people. Really being brave and leaning into that contrast in that conversation. That contrast we talked about at the top of the hour, that contrast brings opportunity to learn from. Taking the ego out, just learn from it. Have the CCs in life. Again, that's a superpower tip, have the CC. So when you find yourself getting into that trigger mode or something's going on, you know that you're passionate about it, and that's okay. Just deep breath, get your body and your nervous system back to homeostasis. Now, I'm going to go into the nervous system really quickly. I go deeper into this when I'm educating with Craziness to Clarity, either the online or the in-person platform. But that nervous system, you know, when we have that conversation with ourselves, doesn't feel right. Remember, we say that. We're like, well, that choice doesn't feel right. You know why? And this is in the umbrella of transformation and changing, right? You're making new choices. Well, it doesn't feel right because you are making new decisions, new choices. It's not supposed to feel right. Your nervous system, back in the day of cavemen, I mean, we've had the fight or flight mechanisms going on in our body. You can't sustain that. You can't sustain that fight or flight. The nervous system going. You got adrenal failure, you got all this and that. But nowadays we've got bosses, we've got kids, we've got jobs, we've got bills, all of that stuff. So to keep yourself into homeostasis and to do all of that, you've got to keep your nervous system calm. That's it. Just, you got to keep it calm. It's going to feel different because it is different. Just know that. Really hear what I just said. when you're like, "Ooh, that doesn't," or that feels different. Well, of course it does, because your nervous system is saying, I want to keep you right here, stuck in all of this. And in fact, you're going to cross that bridge of fear. You're going to cross that bridge of and into the unknown. Do it. Oh my goodness, I could speak to you about me crossing my bridges of the unknown. Yeah, reclaiming, redesigning, rediscovering myself in multiple areas of my life and multiple times in my life. So I can speak from massive experience here, guys. So reclaim, rediscover, redesign, self-regulating, having a process in place before the shiitake hits the fan. So what does that look like? We have talked about the CCs in life. We have talked about the 3 phases of transformation. It's important that you understand those phases so you know what you are going through. It's the awareness. You've had the awareness that, like our last caller, Jennifer, she stood in awareness in the conversation in front of family that gave her the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm not pushing my opinion on you. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm backing off. That's an awareness, and providing that self-love and education for yourself. It's a beautiful mirror. That dance is beautiful when you can do it in that dynamic. And then with the awareness, after that comes that clarity, the education. The education is going to start. It could be a conversation that you have with a complete stranger, or your coach or your educator or your boss, something, or a song comes up that brings out an elevated emotion for you. There's something in all of this that you're learning from. That's the clarity aspect, the education. Now goes into the transformation, all of that. We're talking about the 3 phases of transformation, and it's important that you understand that so you know where you're at. Then it's the transformation, which it's the integration of all these new tips and tools. These tips and tools are what I'm going to be teaching you. I'm going to give you some of these self-regulating tools, and I have over the top of the hour. The CCs in life. During the break, I talked about the calendar pop-ups. We'll do that in a minute as well. All of this is transformation. And within the transformation, you're going to integrate these new tips and tools. You're going to figure out the language that's authentic and genuine to you. And that is really, really important. Authentic and genuine to you. Audience, you've heard me say this language. It's very anchoring for me personally. So if it's something for you, please use it. Authentic and genuine. Is it authentic and genuine to me? It's just like this. So I can really hold on to that, and I can sink my teeth into it. So is it authentic and genuine to me? And really align and start figuring out the language within the transformation, what that looks like. Language of boundaries, language on how you're going to show up. And I say language because people, and especially kids, they're going to call BS. Your body too is going to call BS. Jennifer was asking about how important it was to be in your body earlier. Your nervous system and your body is going to call the BS on all of that if you're not authentic and genuine and aligned with the language that you're speaking. Again, really being aligned with your own personal code of conduct. I talked about that, and I educate people and entrepreneurs and small businesses all alike to really have a strong personal code of conduct. So you are aligning with clients, you're aligning with family members, you're aligning with CEOs, all of this. So you're not losing money, you're not losing time, you don't have turnover. A little bit of a segue there, but it's really important that you understand, one, the 3 phases of transformation, also kind of sprinkling in the stuff that I'm teaching as well. So you have a resource. Then I talked to you guys about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas all over myself. I love this. I love this. And I love this. And I say that because there's the contrast, right? And I use the analogy of walking into your closet. And I say this because it's unisex, right? We can all relate to walking into our closet, and there's that old pair of jeans or that old shirt that I don't fit in, but for whatever reason, I'm going to keep it on the shelf, on the hanger, just so I could shoulda, coulda, woulda all over myself looking at it. So what do I mean by that? I want to walk into the closet and go, oh, this so aligns. This is so authentic and genuine to me. I feel proud. I feel good when I walk in here. It's not heavy. It's not, oh, I should not have eaten those donuts because those jeans don't fit. Oh, I had a breakup in that shirt, or, you know, whatever, or a wedding and now you're divorced and you got to do something with the wedding dress. I don't know. Figure it out. Maybe you've got old suits that are in the closet. Donate them or sell them. Give them to a good cause. Be of good service. You know, there's organizations all over the world that are looking for, you know, business attire that you can donate. Please do that. And if you want to sell it, do that too. That's just a great analogy of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas all over myself. It could be, and it parlays into your home and the space that you live in, whether it's the car, whether it's the RV, whether it's the pantry, whether it's the garage, all of that. Walking into your space, that could be between the ears as well, knowing that you have the shoulda, coulda, wouldas going on. Clean the cobwebs, right? Have clarity, get all of that old stuff out of there. It just doesn't serve you anymore, right? The old fears. Again, analogy to the closet with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but it's also a fantastic analogy for life. I think there's so many metaphors and analogies in our day-to-day life and messages. It's absolutely fantastic. Just listen to them. Okay, so we talked about the CCs in life. Compassionate curiosity is really important. Having a compassionate, curious ear and speak is super important because it takes the sting out of either receiving myself or communicating. And if you know that you're going to come into a conversation always with curiosity and compassion, you've also living on purpose, walking in purpose. There's the whole media buzzword, live on your purpose, and I have to be purposeful. You should be purposeful. You should not allow the powers that be, whatever it is, or the unconscious, be making those choices for you, because that's old behaviors, old patterns, old narratives that you're still living in. So recreate, reclaim, and redesign what that is for you. That's authentic and genuine. Again, during the break on YouTube, I talked about the heart proud, my language. And I say that being heart proud because there's no ego in it. It's just, I'm genuinely proud when I show up XYZ. It feels so good. I feel proud when I am, and these are all self-regulating tools and you living on purpose. So write these down. I am, it's questions that you ask yourself for being authentic and genuine, your personal code of conduct, and really showing up clear and authentic and having the CCs in life. Again, going back to the CCs, it is the process that is in place before the situation or the shiitake hits the fan, right? And you can keep yourself in homeostasis and show up confident and aligned versus erratic, not making sense, not communicating. Then you go down the rabbit hole of shame and guilt and, all of that stuff. Even though, and this is, I just want to put a pin in this too, even if you do have a process in place, and something really got under your skin. I get it. I've been there. Something really got under your skin. You've taken it personally. That's okay. Again, it's the contrast. You're learning from it. Deep breath, learn from it. And if it happens to be in a work environment, you can go back to said employee or said boss or partner and say, hey, you know what? I went unconscious. My intention was not to do that. Can we please have this conversation again? It could be a partnership. It could be a marriage. It could be any type of partnership, and say, if you're in the heat of said conversation, you have every right to say, whoa, hang on. We got to take a pause here because I know that I'm not showing up how I want to show up. So let's take a 5-minute just break here and then come back, because I know our intention. And I'm kind of jumping a little bit here, because if you're in a relationship and it's an important relationship to you, you are coming to the conversation, you have set the intention in the beginning. So you have said in the beginning of said conversation, our relationship is so important to me. I want to set the intention that we're going to communicate clearly, loving, and with compassion, and to be able to hear one another and to come together in community and conversation. And if you have an opinion, you have an opinion, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to unpack it, not with shame and guilt. So setting the intention for that conversation. And when you loop out of that, then that's when you say, let's take a break. We both made the agreement. We weren't going to do this. We weren't going to show up like this. I know we're getting fired up. Hang on, pause, and just go outside. Go outside. Like I said earlier at the top of the hour, another grounding tool to get your body back into homeostasis is take your shoes off, go outside, nice inhalations in the nose, out through the mouth, bare feet, walk backwards. Smell the earth, smell the grass, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, walk backwards, methodically really feeling the earth and really getting into your body, letting the sun permeate, let the earth permeate, and then go back to having the conversation. So you've just heard a few superpower tips there. One, you have permission to take a 5-minute break or 10-minute break, whatever that is. Go outside, take some nice deep breath. Breath is free. There's no coupon. You don't have to go to Safeway for a coupon. There's none of that, my loves. It's free right here, right now, on you, with you. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. If the Navy SEALs can do it, we can do it. Keeping your body in homeostasis and calm so you can come with confidence and love and curious again. Deep breaths in and out. Go outside, barefoot, walk backwards, again, applying the breath with all of that. And then you can come back with confidence and love and coming back in. Then there was the CCs in life. Gratitude is another huge one. The moment I wake up, I go straight into gratitude. The second I feel my body, there's those moments where you just kind of feel like you're just barely waking up. I immediately go into gratitude and appreciation. And a little nuancy kind of thing that I do, I always put my right foot down first when I get out of bed. I always put my right sock on before I put my shoe on. And I always put my right shoe on. And it's setting the intention and the momentum, my intention for the day, making right choices. I don't make left choices. I make right choices. Does that make sense? So it's another little, mindset hack. It's a little positive psychology with tactile isms. I know it's a Sioux word. Keeping yourself in that elevated state, right? Choosing love and appreciation. Again, you guys, the breath work and getting grounded and choosing to be grateful and making that a full-on practice. It is so easy. So many of us don't do it, right? It's just, we forget, oh, that's right, I could do that. Or our bodies get addicted to the chemicals that we're releasing and we stay in the drama. We stay in the rabbit hole of despair because our bodies are addicted to that. And I didn't really go into that deep conversation about the nervous system and the chemical releases, but there's a whole science and background for that. I'm not just making that stuff up. But the biggest thing here is reminding all of you, you have the permission to change. You have permission to redesign, reclaim, and recreate how you're going to show up. And that's why I'm here. I'm giving you self-regulating tools. I'm giving you the real-time, real-life tools to use and apply. And I'm going to say also, big fat disclaimer, my loves, you are the only one. You're looking for ROI. You're looking for complete guarantee. Guess what? It's you, my love. If you want things to change, you have to change. Flat out, you have to. And that's why I went on this self journey from massive traumas and young childhood. Well, it was teens to 20s traumas and deaths and stuff. And I'm like, I got to figure this shiitake out. I mean, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to have this trauma sitting in my body. I don't want to have anxiety. I don't want to be so fearful to not do things. I don't want to be that person. I want to be able to live my life, win at life, authentic and genuine to me, not based on old narratives or codependency or traumas, all of that stuff. That has been my why. I will never, ever, ever diminish myself for anyone, any other beliefs, conversations. And I just won't. Nor will I attract that in my life. That's a whole nother conversation. When you are showing up in appreciation and gratitude, when you are choosing to walk in purpose with compassion and genuine and authentic, whatever that is, whatever your personal code of conduct is for you, and you are within the 3 phases of transformation, it's usually around the clarity and the transformation aspect of it, you're going to start attracting like-minded. Now, again, there's a disclaimer. If there's people coming into your awareness and they're teaching you, again, the contrast, it's an opportunity to learn. Don't get down on yourself. Have the CCs in life. It's simply contrast. That's all it is. It's the contrast to get clear on how you desire to show up. Just learn from it. That's all. That's all you got to do. And then just keep moving forward. Keep crossing that bridge. I talked at the top of the hour. I had said, many of us, and me including, well, it doesn't feel right. It should not. Transformation and change should not feel right. You want it to feel different. So you then say, all right, it should feel different. You want it to feel different because it is different. It's your nervous system just wanting to keep you stuck in the old pattern and the safety of whatever that was, even though it really doesn't serve you. It's just, that's the past. That's what you've always done. It doesn't work anymore. So change that. Have the CCs in life. Get authentic and genuine for yourself. Find joy, pure joy and appreciation for yourself. What makes you feel proud, heart proud, not ego proud. There's a sprinkle of that, but I'm going to this because I think language is really important. It's that self-love, self-gratitude, self-appreciation, prowess. Is it prowess, Benny? Prideness? I can't say prideness. It's prowess, right? We're going to go with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And finding that true joy. What brings you true joy? I'm finding songs. My Getting Jiggy With It song or my disco songs, or, I love having Kelly Howell. There's 2 high quality audios that I love to listen to when I'm meditating, taking a power snooze before I go to sleep. That's Kelly Howell and Rising Higher Meditations. You can find all these on YouTube and then go buy their audios should you choose to. I love both of those. You do your due diligence and feel into it and see what works for you. Again, the moment that I wake up, I go into love, gratitude, and appreciation, putting my right shoe on, my right foot down. Again, it's setting the momentum, the intention, the positive momentum for my life and lifestyle and my day. Well, this has been a super juicy hour, you guys. I want to remind all of you, you have the choice to redesign, reclaim, and rediscover your life and create a culture that you are proud of. Do you hear that? Create a culture that you're proud of in home, at work, as an entrepreneur. Do it. Find what feels authentic and genuine to you. I can help you with all that. Go to claritywithsue.com and get a copy of the show. Recap all the good, juicy stuff. If you would like to hire me for your organization, I'd love to come and chit chat, talk, and educate and love on all of you. Just find me on claritywithsue.com. Benny, thank you so much. We're going to see you next week. And until then, each of you are a gift. Get out there and share yourself with the world.